Welcome to our village, where we want to encourage and motivate you to be the one.
Whatever that means to you, go get it.
In our culture and society today, spiritual morality is low, the truth is scarce, and dreams are just tucked away.
But every day, there's something better to be discovered.
So this is our opportunity through our stories,
Our passions,
Our messages
to help somebody out there be the one. This is Adonis.
This is Anthony Gav.
This is Jay Reid.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. All right, this narrative forum is a collaboration between the Be the One Studio, Black Convergence, and the Black Student Union at Lawrence Tech University. Not any particular adherence to any particular faith or religion. We like to start with opening prayer, just as a ground exercise.
My name is Jay Reid. You may have seen me in the community. I ran for council in 2021. I'm a residential, I promote everything as far as voter education, as far as our young people. This event is a first of its kind, and by that, I mean this is the first event that is a candidate forum put on by the young people. So again, my name is Jay Reid. We'll be moderating. You'll see me and Tiffany and a couple others will be circulating, making sure everyone has water, everything is going smoothly, and that you are enjoying yourselves. We want you to enjoy yourselves. Be the One is a collaboration of multiple youth organizations, young people, young adults from 18 to 35, and we're growing. Within Be the One Studios, we also have a ministry aspect called Ignite Young Adults. So one of the directors for that, as well as one of our directors for Be the One, his name is Anthony Gavin Jr., and he was recently ordained as a minister. So please welcome him as he prays for us and for this forum, that we may have a peaceful and enjoyable evening.
Or if you're happy and you know it, you want to put your hands together one more time. Amen. We're eternally grateful for all of your presence on this evening. Also just so thankful for these young adults who thought to not only think, but to actually put the work behind the thought to be able to put on this great candidate forum. I also want to take at this time as a point of privilege to thank all of those who are running, who took the time to come out with us on this evening. We are eternally grateful as well as excited to hear exactly what you guys have to share. Let us pray. Most gracious, ever to be adored Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Father, we thank you because you are God, and besides you, there is simply no other. For we love you, we honor you, we adore you. Father, we thank you that even when we mess up, you still love us, even despite ourselves. Father, I ask that you allow your Holy Spirit to come in and grace this sacred auditorium on this afternoon. Father, I ask that you allow that as the candidates are able to share what they believe, and we're able to be respectful, that we're able to learn and be able to get the questions answered so that we can understand exactly what's happening inside of our local community. Father, just touch all of us, that we would remain tempered, and that we would just be able to behave ourselves and just show love towards one another as we have the same goal. In Jesus' name we pray. Now unto him who is able to keep us from falling, and to present him faultless before the very presence of his glory, with exceeding joy to the only wise God, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. This is the prayer that we ask. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank God. Amen.
Thank you all so much. All right, so this candidate forum is featuring the candidates who filed for the November general election in the city of Southfield. There are 2 candidates running for mayor. You will vote for one, and they will be elected for a 4-year term. There are 3 candidates running for the city clerk. Once again, you vote for one, who will get a 4-year term. And then there are 7 candidates in Southfield running for the city council. You're going to vote for 4 of them. The 3 highest vote totals have a 4-year term, and the 4th highest, with the least number of votes, actually only gets 2 years. All right? The intent behind this forum is political education, specifically for the age groups between 18 and 35. And that's something that, might be a little less known. So take note of that when you are filing ballots this year. All right? This forum, as I said before, has been organized by Be The One Studio, Black Convergence, and Lawrence Tech University's Black Student. There are representatives from each organization present, so feel free to speak to them/us if you need any more information about what it is that we do. Black Convergence, you raise your hand real quick. All right. Yeah, thank you. And you already know about Be One Studio. And our friends from Home Step on the way, All right, my name is Calfani. I'm a resident of Southfield. I'm an MC, I'm a writer, and I'm a 2018 graduate of University High School. Tonight, the first group that we're going to hear from is the city clerk. The 3 candidates are Rynette and Guy, Coretta Ho, and Gabby Grossbauer. Following the clerk forum, we'll hear from one of our candidates for mayor, Ms. Sylvia Jordan. The incumbent, the current mayor, his name is Ken Cyber. He will not be with us today, but he did leave his statement. Lastly, we'll hear from our candidates for city council. There are 7 candidates, as I said before. Their names are Shanti Bland, Daniel Brightwell, Katrina Butler, Yolanda Haynes, Stacey Jackson, Michael Ari Mandelbaum, who is the council president currently, and Gregory Keeler. There will be a short break between each of these forums. All right? Now, before we get really in motion, I wanted to also take some time to thank those individuals and organizations who have contributed behind the scenes to making this event special, all right? First and foremost, Christine Allen, and the voters. Please. Eastway Action, who is, is a very important sponsor for Black Convergence. And also, Jason and Greg and Joyce Southfield. This forum is not a debate or endorsement of any particular candidate. It's an opportunity for candidates to engage with a block of voters that is often overlooked and assumed to be politically disengaged. Every volunteer, organizer, and planner involved in this event is under the age of 30. We're excited to imagine a world where young leaders are embraced and believed and started right here at home. Our objective is to spark civic engagement amongst voters between the ages of 18 and 35 in our local community. Involving first-time voters and early families in the political process is important so we as a community can know that we're truly being represented by the officials we elect. That said, we're not endorsing any candidate or political party at this event. The views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates, and we, the sponsors, take no responsibility. The format for this forum is shadowing what was established by our mentors at the Legal Women Vote. All right? Is that cool? All right, perfect. Ground rules. Candidates will ask questions with their views only and not interrupt other candidates. Questions are asked to all candidates and do not single out any one candidate. Questions are submitted by the audience and screened for duplication and appropriateness by our team within Black Convergence. However, at the end of each forum, we will open the floor for a small number of live questions, right? Which means we will give one of the audience members time or opportunity to ask their question directly to the candidates. Is that okay? All right. Members of the Black Convergence and the Black Student Union at Lawrence Tech are circulating in the audience with paper and pens. These little cards when you got them when you got ready. The paper and pens are for you to write down your questions. Please turn in your questions to the team members by raising your hand. Someone will find you, okay? Lastly, we have a timekeeper. The timekeeper will ensure that we stay organized and efficient while we're doing this process. Candidates will have a 90-second time window to introduce themselves with an opening statement. Responses to questions will be limited to 1 minute. All right? As we begin the forum, we would like to ask that you please mute your cellular devices. All right? And remember, remain silent, hold your applause, and be respectful to the candidates that are up here. Once again, be respectful to the candidates that are up here. Okay? We will now begin with the opening statement from our clerk. Candidate is right at God.
All right. I will take your spot.
No,
We're not gonna
I'm
take
sure
your
wherever you feel comfortable.
All right. Well, I didn't expect to be up here by my lonesome, but y'all are here, so I'm not alone. Well, good evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Anee. For those of you who don't know me, I'm running to be the next write-in for Southfield City Clerk. I want to say how much I appreciate this forum that's been orchestrated by the young people, because they are the heartbeat of where this city and country is headed. I didn't enter this race a part of a political clique or group or insider circle, but I was called, or some will refer to, the people's candidate. My path into politics didn't come through connections or titles or anything like that, but by service and concern. I saw a fire brewing, and I decided not just to sound the alarm, but to run to the fire. As a U.S. Navy veteran, we're taught to run to the problems and not run from them. So that's why I'm here. Change doesn't always start with a career politician. Sometimes it starts with a concerned citizen who cares enough about what's going on, and that's why tonight is important. A few things for you to remember. No other candidate running for clerk has experience but me. Experience doesn't just fall as under doing part of the job, but actually doing the job. And having a background as an IT and process improvement, education gives me the valuable expertise that I need. So every clerk is supposed to be the voice for the people. And I've spent the last 6 months voicing to each and every one here that we have a problem. We got a name on the ballot that's an election denier, and that's fact.
All right. Thank you so much. Sorry, got people in the time. My first question. This is generally for candidates that don't find themselves on the primary ballot. Is there a reason why? Can you explain why candidates are being are campaigning as black candidates?
Can you repeat that for me?
For the candidates that are running for city clerk who are not on the primary ballot, could you explain why a candidate might be running as a black candidate?
Okay, so if you weren't a part of the primary election, then you didn't have the opportunity to be voted, to be on the ballot for November. So I can tell you now that there was not time to go back and fix some issues that we had. I was thrown off by legal measure of the ballot. The people went all the way up to the Board of Elections on me. The word township wasn't crossed off the header of some of the petitions, which threw out every entire sheet that didn't have township crossed off. Wow. But see, I didn't have the 2 years or the 6 months as everybody else had to get their petitions done. I had 2 days. 2 days when I learned that only one person was going to be on the ballot. And so I made it happen. But now we are at a point where we've been fighting an uphill battle, but guess what? We still fighting.
Our next question, why should Southfield trust that candidates for clerk will certify and conduct free and fair elections where all our votes will count?
So any clerk is supposed to be the election certifying official for the city. And so it's their job to represent the people, to represent the vote, and to connect the people with the government. And any person that would challenge any type of election has a little bit of a bias. And I just don't think that that's something that a person that we need to have in charge of elections. You don't know if people are gonna actually follow the law until you do your research and check the history and find out that they haven't before.
Could you take a second to explain what it is that the clerk's office does for our first-time voters or early voters?
Absolutely, I know a lot of people wondering why. What's the deal with the clerk's office? The clerk is actually the certified election specialist for the city. Not only that, they are the records keeper. They are the voice between the government and the people, making sure everything is transparent, making sure laws are followed, making sure regulations are followed, making sure businesses are up to par with their licenses. So the clerk is a very important role. They also serve as assistant to the council, making sure all meetings are recorded properly, and that information is readily available and made clear to people online.
And if somebody does want to access that information, how do they go about finding it, locating it, engaging with it? Are there rules to how people can engage with that information at the clerk's office records?
The only rule is to just to go up there and ask. You know, nobody goes into a place with a question expecting to be directed to the internet, right? Which, that's the story quite often. All you really have to do to be involved and engaged is to ask. To be able to find out all this information is supposed to be readily available and easy to navigate online. Not always the case either. So that's, one of my goals, to just make sure people are well informed and that information is easily accessible. You can go to your county website, you can go to the Board of Elections, but most importantly, you should be able to go into the local office and get all the questions that you have answered.
What opportunities are available for first-time voters to maybe learn from the clerk, if such a thing exists, or if there's something like that you introduce to our community? Also, feel free to put up your name so people can find you up and
Absolutely. So, one, there's always a door that is accessible to every resident to go to the office and to get questions answered from the clerk. That's number one. You don't know until you ask sometimes. Sometimes we don't know the right questions to ask, right? But when you go, if you have someone willing to be open and share all the information that's needed, it makes it easier. Do we have the programs right now in place for first-time and new voters? I don't know. I don't know if that's something that's in position at the moment. I can tell you that it is something that the clerk's office partners with the Secretary of State. So once a driver's license, permit, ID, something like that is acquired, they begin to tell them about elections. Yeah, so that's one area to start. But I can't really say that right now we have something specific for them.
What ways could elected officials do better in engaging with students? Students that are currently attending Southfield Public School specifically.
I say right now the way for people to connect and engage is to go to them. This right here is a great example of what the young minds can do when they come together. However, you also got to be willing. Because it's not going to always be the same way, doing things the same way the old guard does things, right? A lot of times we get set in our ways and like, this is how it should be done. But I'm a firm believer and an example. I didn't know what the way that the should way was when we went into this, right? but I had a willing heart. And so the same thing, they have a willing heart to go talk to the youth, to get with organizations, to partner, then I know it can be made possible.
Thank you. Just a reminder, please silence cell phones, just out of respect for the candidates. Please explain what election denial is. This is very important. Thank you.
So part of our democracy is freedom of choice. And that's what vote is supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to cast your choice on paper, on ballot. Some states are electric. You're supposed to be able to push the button, and what you once said is counted. But when we come to the term election denier, what it does is it undermines the people's voice and their vote. And it comes with a different, I can't say I know what is in someone else's mind, but what it is it's breaking what the traditional rule and regulation of voting is. You can't say you're for elections if you're trying to create a lawsuit to overturn elections. So that is what election denial is.
This question isn't meant to be specific to you, but because you're our candidate that's represented, are you ready for this position, and what are you prepared to bring to the table?
I believe I'm ready for this position. I've done it. I've heard people say 5 months, 7 months, 3 months. Listen, I've done it, right? That's more months than someone else is up here, or will be up here, has done, right? So I do know the work. I do know the work. I don't remember the second part of your question. That's called campaign brain. If y'all ain't ever heard of that, it's a thing. But I know what to do. I've done it. I have like I said in my opening statement, I have a unique background with the military as being an IT, information systems technician. My degree is in process improvement and management, workforce education and development, and I know that's where we got to start. A lot of times people don't do right because they don't know what to do. So we begin with training, and because I've been in there day to day, and I know where we need to start and how we need to do it.
Can you tell us more about what a day in the office is like, or a month, or a campaign season, or a dull season? What is it that the clerk does on a daily basis?
That's a great question. I can tell you what the entire team does, and I'm very big on that phrase, because not one person can ask for any type of credit without giving credit to their team. So I can tell you that we meet the needs of every resident when it comes to fulfilling requests of birth certificates, death certificates, business licenses, liquor licenses, garage permits, meetings, right? Minutes, which is an issue for a lot of people. I can fix that in the first quarter, so I chose to never even bring it up. But it consists of day-to-day activity of making sure data is correct. So voter files are correct. Making sure that the information that people need is readily accessible, and that we are following the rule of the law to the letter.
We can clap for that. You mentioned previously the Secretary of State. What does it look like when our local government is interacting with the Secretary of State, specifically in the clerk's office?
So the local, usually I can tell you that the county works together with a local office. And what they do is they bring the information and follow the Secretary of State. So the Secretary of State would be your personal driving information, but those two systems talk. So the Secretary of State system talks with the voter, the QBF file, which is the qualified voter file. And that's how, even though I know a lot of people probably, well, I never even really registered to vote, but y'all got my information. That's how. It's because the two systems talk, they mirror each other. I tell everyone, don't try to get fancy on your signatures, because we go by what you got on your driver's license. So, you know, just little things like that. As long as that information is up to date and accurate, then your voter information is going to be up to date and accurate.
Thank you. We'll now open the floor for a couple live questions. If you would like to raise your hand, if you have a question, a member from our team will take this microphone on the stage and bring it to you. Anybody? We got one. Feel free to stay in that general area. We'll come to you. You can definitely stand up if you want.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Lewis.
We got another
And I
mic.
guess it's on. It should be green.
Testing.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Lewis, and thank you for being here. As a resident of Southfield, I am very concerned about this race, primarily because I can't imagine. First of all, I noticed that you're by yourself. That concerns me. That the other candidate that is actually on the ballot is not here talking to us. So my question for you is, what do we need to tell our loved ones, our family, and our friends to do? Because in a lot of cases, we've not had to do a write-in. And we don't want to make any errors or anything like that. Because if I can just be candid, if a person denied my vote from 2020, then how is it that this time it will count, but will it count the next time? And if our votes are turned over to MAGA, then that could really weigh future elections, including our governor, our senator, and so what should we do? And is this about democracy? Can you speak to democracy?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Democracy, like I said earlier, is choice. It's I'm continuously share this, right? No matter what you believe, we're all created to choose what we want to do. And so when you remove that choice from somebody, that's affecting democracy right then and there. I can tell you what you need to just share with everyone is to be deliberate, number one. Look up who they want to vote for and just do the research. That's the only way we learned this information was by doing the research. It's there. But if we didn't look it up, we would have never known. It would have gone totally under the radar. But for someone, if you're interested in writing someone in, the biggest part is making sure it's under the proper section of the office. And then you fill in the blank square, bubble, whatsoever your ballot has on there, but fill it in fully. And then write the name as close as possible on the line next to that bubble.
All right, thank you. We got one more question from the audience in the back. I'm sorry. You might be next.
Thank you.
Try to keep your question under like a minute if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Dolores Cotton, and I'm a resident of 40 years here in Southfield. And I appreciate you stepping to the plate to do this with the climate of the world and the nation right now. My question is, there are cases where people's ballots have been challenged for spellings or residents in the last election. In some states, a lot of elections lost thousands of votes. How do we assure that we properly write your name in? Because a lot of people will just look at the ballot, there's only one candidate, I'll just vote for that one. So as we spread the word, how do we safely put your name on the ballot to be sure that it doesn't get challenged?
Great question. The biggest thing is fill in that bubble, or that block, that rectangle, that square, because that is probably the biggest rejector. That the name could be spelled just as perfect as you want it to be, but if that block isn't blocked in, it's invalid. And so my name is W-Y-N-E-T-T, last name G-U-Y. I can tell you that the Board of Canvassers, they truly try to go by the intent. So as long as they can understand who you are writing, that's what they count. However, it is, like you just said, we know that there's a history of challenging. So my recommendation is, try to do your best to get it spelled properly. We are handing information out, right? You can take whatever you need into the booth to help you make your decisions. You just can't have the information out in line.
This will be our last audience question for this particular forum. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Keith Harris. I've been a voter for 54 years now, and I've never seen what's been going on in Southfield in my whole entire life. You will make the third clerk if you win in 3 years. Now we're talking about oversight, bipartisan oversight over the Southfield Clerk's Department, because we have had so many legal issues with the clerk department. How would you feel about a bipartisan oversight committee over the clerk's department?
I don't know that a bipartisan committee can fix what the issue is as much as it's the person that's voted in. They're nonpartisan positions. And if need be, that's fine. But what matters is doing the research on who is being elected, and make sure you know the person that is in there. I can't speak to what has happened with the past clerks because I wasn't in their shoes at that time, and I don't want to speculate because I know what it's like to be up front and have all the darts directed towards you, right? But if that's needed and that's something that the state of Michigan decides we need to do, I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm a firm believer that you follow the law of the letter. You follow the policy, you follow the regulation, and you can't go wrong doing that. So that's where I'm at with that.
So once again, there are other two candidates for the city clerk. All right, it's Gabby Grossbard and Coretta Ho. This is Wynette Guy. She is a write-in candidate, so please remember, as she just said, if you're interested in supporting her or Coretta Ho, you'll have to write them in. Thank you. Another round of applause. We're going to take a short break before we transition into our candidates for mayor. All right? Real short, though. Almost
Southfield Public Schools. If you know, you know. A growing community of youth getting ready to tackle the world and the problems we create. With a personable and professional staff, each school is doing its best to educate this next generation of leaders and experts. We want to show our appreciation to the Southfield Public Schools, specifically Adler Elementary, which was scheduled to close a few years ago. Thanks to the community, Adler still stands bolder than ever as a heartbeat in our community with its historical planetarium and all new renovations. If it's time to get your kid enrolled in the next semester, or if you're looking for a job as an educator, consider the Southfield Public Schools. We hope that we have the right school for your child. Thank you very much.
Whew. Good evening, Southfield. How y'all doing today? Well, I I'm Jason Hoskins, I'm state representative, your state representative for most of you probably. State representative, I cover Southfield, Electric Village, Farmington Hills, and Oak Park. And I am just so happy to see so many of you out today. This is really important that we are engaged in this process. I cannot tell you how important it is that we stay on top of things, because there are people who think right now that democracy is optional. That they somehow have forgotten that who has the power in this process. That has always been the people who have power in this process. And they want you to forget that. And I know, listen y'all, it is exhausting. Like, they are trying to scare us, they are trying to divide us, they are trying to make you think that you don't have the power. And I want you to know, you have always had the power. Your voice always matters. And it's important that you go out and exercise your vote this November and every other November, because we got a lot of fights we're going to be fighting from here on. I was in Lansing today. They were having hearings on trying to get rid of implicit bias, prohibit implicit bias training in healthcare. We had legislation to remove the word colored from legislation, from statute, and someone voted against it. Like, this is the stuff that we are dealing with at the state level. So we need to make sure that you are all coming out and doing what you need to do now, and certainly next year in November, and every November after that. So are y'all going to be a part of the process? Are y'all going to come out and vote this November? Y'all coming out next November? I just love seeing, this is so many people here. Like, this is so great. I'm getting a wrap up. Okay, all right, thank you all so much. I'm a politician, I can keep going in wherever now.
I'll figure out how to be more graceful with you.
Thank you, State Representative Hoskins. My name is Yolanda Smith-Charles, and I want you to give it up for Adler. Doesn't Adler look really good? And it's for our textiles, so thank you for supporting that. I was a write-in once before. That's actually how I ended up where I'm at today. I ran for the Southfield Board of Education. I printed out things. I've shared this with Lynette before, and I stood outside of Thompson all day, and I was just saying, you know, fill in the bubble and write my name, fill in the bubble, write my name. So it can be done. And I just want to encourage you that it's totally legal. Don't be too nervous about it. But certainly we cannot have an election-denying, anti-visibility push for city of Southfield. So call your friends, send text messages, knock on doors, take literature. We need this young lady right here. Finally, just want to say that your vote is important to keep the process going. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Jay and your team, Southfield Dems. Thank you for your work, and thank you all for running who are here today.
All right, as we begin with the forum, I'd like to remind everybody, please mute your devices. All right, we want to limit the instances of noises that might distract one of the candidates. Being able to communicate effectively with the audience. Also, try to hold your applause unless you're a first-time voter. If you're a first-time voter, you're like 18, you know that's makes some noise. But other than that, please respect the candidates by holding your applause. All right, I'd like to introduce our next candidate, who's a candidate from Mayor, Ms. Sylvia Jordan. She'll have 90 seconds for her opening statement, and once she gets up here, I'll start by reading our statement from Mayor Ken Cyber, who's not able to attend tonight. From Mayor Ken Cyber. A great deal of progress has been made in the last decade, even in the face of a multi-year pandemic, inflation, tariffs, high interest rates, supply chain issues, and major shifts in retailing and how we work. All things beyond our control. Yet, 151 miles of roads and 53 miles of water mains were replaced, 36 public artworks, and over 20 miles of urban pathways installed. A steady renewal of parks and rec facilities. As challenging as it's been, we continue to recruit scores of new businesses and find adaptive reuses for vacant and outdated structures. It took over 5 years to find a developer who believed in our vision for Northland and not the factories, warehouses, and logistics centers that were pitched to us over and over again. We're adding hundreds and hundreds of new housing units and have stimulated the renewal of our housing stock. My priorities for the next term include lowering tax burden by growing Southfield's tax base, developing more housing to increase supply and thus lower or stabilize rent/purchase costs, finding alternative uses for vacant office and commercial spaces, completing the Northland redevelopment project, attracting new residents and businesses, completing neighborhood street replacement program, opening a new municipal aquatic center pool in 2026, stiffening code enforcement to maintain Southfield's appearance standards, continuing initiatives to make Southfield more walkable and bicycle friendly, continuing to add vibrant streetscapes with public art and amenities, forming a mayor's youth advisory committee, and remaining steadfast in our commitment to DEI initiatives. Southfield is an attractive city that we have maintained while improving its vibrancy, all with a low budget, balanced budget. That's the word you use, balanced budget. We must be doing something right as we added 5,000 new residents in the last census. Candidate, Ms. Sylvia Jordan.
Thank you all for organizing this event. Good evening, everyone, and my name is Sylvia Jordan, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Southfield. And I'm very excited to be here with you, the next generation of Southfield leaders and entrepreneurs and change makers. And let the truth be told, the city cannot move forward without you all, your ideas, your energy, and your voice. You know, when I talk to young people across the city, I hear the same thing over and over again. We want affordable housing to stay here. We want places to create, collaborate, and build dreams, have fun, a city government that listens to us and works for us. And that's exactly why I'm running, to make Southfield a place where young families can buy a home, build wealth, and can have the creatives to launch a business, and where you won't have to move out of the city. We need a Southfield with a real downtown, vibrant neighborhoods, small business hubs, co-working spaces where innovations happen every day. This campaign is not about what we can fix, it's about what we can really build together. You deserve a seat at the table, and that's what we want. Under my leadership, you will have it, because Southfield future depends on you. And together we can build the Southfield that we've all been waiting for. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question, what are your plans for the youth of Southfield, specifically ages 16 to 30? I'll also note that this candidate forum was targeting ages 18 to 35. So if you would like to extend it to 35, but this person wrote 16 to 30. At this time, there are no activities or anything inclusive for our teens to young adults, including malls, movie theaters, or of course the pool. Even young business owners don't feel as if there's an end to commercial business in the city.
And I believe that for this city to embrace and understand the needs of the young people, we've got to be an exciting city. And so we have to have co-working spaces where the creatives can go and create and do their music and do their art and develop their business and learn about new businesses. So we've got to create a hub that will keep the young residents here. So that's one thing I believe that we can do. We have to have a public and a private partnership with all the businesses that are here. We have to give the training needed for those young entrepreneurs that want to start their business and create wealth for their family and really have a sustainable life for their young children. So we've got to have the partnerships, we've got to have training, we have to have micro grants available for those people that want to start a business, because we want to keep the young talent here. There are many commercial properties that we can develop into that creative space that we've even talked about, that's needed for the city.
Thank you. This next question will allow a minute, 30-second response, a 90-second response. What caused you to run? Why was it important to you? And what would change in our community with, I'm sorry, I can't read this next part of the handwriting, forgive me. What caused you to run and why was it important to you?
Honestly, what caused me to run, I was served on city council for 17 years. And when I was unsuccessful for mayor in 2015, I basically pulled back and decided I could go in a different direction. But at that time, my husband in 2015 suffered a brain bleed. I lost my son to cancer, so I pulled back altogether. I said, let me take care of my family. That's where my future is right now. But last year, I had 2 people from the city council approach me and they said, we need your leadership back in the city. And after telling them no for several months, even as of the latest last November, I said, no, I'm not interested in getting back involved in politics in Southfield. I'm done. And after I thought about it, I'm a woman of faith, I prayed about it, and I looked around the city and I said, it's time to get back involved. When this city used to shine, when this city used to be a very vibrant center of it all. So I said, I've got to get back involved to make this city shine again.
I respectfully ask if you're not a first-time voter, please hold your thoughts. All right, what's your position on the deer? How can you ensure the safety of residents, including pets, will be ensured?
That's a good question. I received that question on my website as well. So when my husband and I first moved to Southfield with my children, we would love to see the deer come in our yard. It was just living in Southfield and having the deer visit you. We would even feed them carrots. But after a while, they began to eat all of my flowers, my neighbor's flowers, and they're very intrusive now. So I've switched from being a deer lover to what can we do to use a humane way to control the deer population. Not only are they causing accidents, there's a safety issue that's really important. So I want to make sure I still love them, but I don't love them the way I used to love them. So we've got to have a humane way to control those deer.
All right, I'm gonna read this next question verbatim. I graduated from Southfield Public Schools in the 90s. Growing up, there were malls and people came to Southfield to shop, play, and dine. Now, even though we still have so many large companies HQ'd here and thriving residents, surrounding cities have many more non-fast food and shopping options. What will you do, if anything, to address that?
That's a very important issue and it has to be addressed. You know, living here in Southfield.
Do we have that second microphone? Thank you.
Living here in Southfield, we don't have those items that we used to have. We don't have decent restaurants that we can go as a family. We don't have the theaters here. We don't have a downtown. You know, when you look at Oak Park and you see what they've done along 9 Mile between Greenfield and Coolidge, it's like, wow. And we're much bigger than Oak Park. We've got more money on our budget than Oak Park. So we've got to do some things here. We've got to create that downtown. We've got to create the spaces where families can enjoy and young people can go. We've got to create that, time goes by so fast. Oh, 30%, oh, I thought you meant time was up. And so we've got to create those spaces that we can enjoy, that we can live, that we can thrive. And what makes cities alive is when you have those spaces available. If they're not available, you'll have to go other places to enjoy. And why not keep our resources here? When you spend your dollars, why can't we keep them in Southfield so the Southfield can grow, rather than going to Troy and Novi and Livonia?
What, as mayor, could you do to improve neighborhood streets?
I think it's going to take a team effort. I think everybody has to be involved. We've got to pull the neighborhood associations back together and get them engaged, because we're in this together. You know, it's not a one-man show, but it's everybody, all hands on deck, to make sure our neighborhoods even shine again, to make sure that everybody does their part in keeping their home looking good. So it's, again, everybody getting involved to do that.
And what could a mayor do to improve senior apartments and living? There are instances of broken elevators, flooding, etc.
Oh my goodness, we've been on the campaign trail for a couple of weeks now, a couple of months. It's been a long time, hasn't it? And we have been in the senior homes, and unfortunately, I have been in a senior home owned by the city where they had buckets along the wall, and they had exposed wires. And in one building we were in, it had mold crawling up the ceiling. So we have to put some ordinances in place. We've got to put more accountability on the owners of those buildings, and we've got to make sure that our seniors are protected in these homes, that they're not, the building owners are not allowed to become slumlords. And so it's going to make the city become more and more responsible to put the enforcement needed to these buildings and the owners of these buildings.
What could you do as mayor that would be exclusive to your position as the mayor, as opposed to being a leader on maybe the city council?
What can I do as mayor? The mayor has a big voice in Southfield. The mayor has the right to veto council's actions. And one thing about city council, you do want the council to work with the mayor. But if there are decisions that are made by the council that's not favorable for the city as a whole, the mayor has veto rights. And so I would exercise those rights when there are decisions that are not made, in my opinion, that's good for the whole. So the mayor can use the right to veto, and the mayor can also bring consensus together with focus groups, with other groups to pull together and come to the table to see how we can study various issues and give suggestions to make Southfield better.
What do you feel about opportunities for job creation, specifically as it relates to recent high school and recent college graduates that live in Southfield?
I think the city must embrace those that have graduated from high school that may not be ready to transition into college. So we've got to set up those workforce development programs, training programs. We've got to work with Oakland County, Oakland Community College. We've got to work with the businesses that are here and see if they can adopt some young people, can offer training. So we've got to look outside the box a little bit more, yet be embracive of the community that's here, because I believe the businesses in this community want to give back. They want to see our young people succeed. But if we're not presenting anything to them, then they won't. I spoke with a business owner, one of the individuals that owns one of the car dealers on Telegraph Road, and he said, I want to get involved in this city, particularly with the youth, but I don't know how. There's no way. He said, I don't even feel connected to the city. So that has to change. We've got to embrace the businesses that are here and get them partnered up with our young people.
If you don't mind, forgive me, I'm getting in my interview bag, guys. Art and media is a hot topic in the city of Southfield. Art and media. Specifically, the city council clips that go viral on a pretty regular basis on social media, that has become a point of contention. In what ways do you think that the mayor should and can interact with young people that are engaged in art and media in the city of Southfield?
I think one thing that we can do, and I know that we can do, is really create a Southfield creative hub for those professionals, those creatives, those photographers, those designers, those people that have that artsy background. And we've got to connect with them. We've got to give them a space that supports that creativity. I look at my daughter, who is a creative, and she had to go to Detroit to find a space where she can work. And she's a Southfield resident, born and raised here. So I think we've got to have that space that creatives can create a home for innovation. There are many vacant buildings that are here that we can have some adaptive reuses. Again, we've got to have some public-private partnerships that will collaborate with those creatives, and the city support has to be there. We have to find some money. In fact, when you look at our budget of over $250 million, money is there to take care of what we need to take care of. And so I would be in favor of just creating a Southfield creative hub for those creatives and those artsy people.
Could you speak on any challenges or accomplishments from your past experiences in local politics?
Challenges or accomplishments. So some of the challenges on being on the city council is that there are many things at the table that you want done, but if you don't get a chance to, or you don't get along with your colleagues, basically nothing gets done, or you go along to get along. So it's a very difficult position to be in at times, but when you have a vision and everybody works toward that vision, you can get it accomplished. When I was on the city council, we had a vision for 2020 was to build downtown Southfield right across the street from City Hall. That was the vision for 2020. So here we are in 2025 and it's still not done. So you've got to have everybody at the table to embrace the vision and you work toward that vision. While I was on council, what we did moving toward the vision was to make Evergreen a boulevard. So our goal was to make Evergreen a boulevard from 10 Mile to 11 Mile to lead up to the downtown. So you've got to have a vision and you've got to move forward together, city council and mayor.
What will your first 30 days in office look like?
You know what? I just had a feeling you guys would ask me that.
Pull out my notes. Don't start the clock. Oh, no, my first thing.
You know, because for me, I like to have my notes. I like to have things that so first of all, we need to look at the master plan. Because once you have a plan in front of you, vision in front of you.
Just hold it down until it turns green. Yep, hold it down until it turns green.
Okay, so we have to look at the master plan. We have to look at where the city is going, and let's work to make it happen. Let's accomplish it. There's a book that I read. It says, "Without a vision, the people perish." So you've got to have a vision in front of you. You've got to work toward it. We have to look at where we're weak. Those areas in the city that we need to buffer up, we have to look at it. I believe we've got to put some focus groups in place. We've got to have some young people. We've got to have a senior group. We've got to have some creatives. We've got to have the business and the professional community. And we've got to have some focus groups to really establish where we are, where they are, and where we need to go. We've got to really reestablish our relationship with our business community, work with those businesses that are here, and develop that downtown.
Public schools are increasingly focused on technology and maximizing student potential in this area, so STEM. In what ways can Southfield City implement more practical endeavors to help cultivate student interest in things like the arts, agriculture, finance, cooking, etc., while currently the schools are offering very little for these activities?
Again, I think it will go back to having that creative hub that will give, and part of that being a community center as well, where there are classes and programs and opportunities where a kid can get off of that phone and go someplace and learn. So we've got to put that space in place, a creative center, a community center, where we can have all of those segments of the community, including the youth, where we can teach, educate, train, and grow and develop our youth. Because if we don't, truly the youth are our future. And if we're not feeding them, if we're not educating them, if we're not training them, if we're not exposing them to what is happening in our world, then they will be left behind. And shame on us if that happens.
Well, now we open the floor for a couple live questions. If you are in the audience and would like to ask a question directly, please keep your question and asking time to 30 seconds. We'll have our timekeeper hold up a sign at 30 seconds.
Hi. My question is specifically about the deer cull, meaning the resolution that Southfield passed to allow hunting in our neighborhoods. how do you feel about that? And
You know, that's kind of tough because you just don't know. I'm not sure if I'm in favor of that, but I believe that we have to find a very humane way to control our deer population.
so it's already passed, they're gonna start shooting it.
I know, so
Can you
they need to be looked at again.
could you explain what the deer call is, what that terminology is referencing?
That was a resolution that the city passed to allow hunting in our residential neighborhoods and parks, starting in early 2026.
Like I said, I'm not in favor of that. That's
Okay.
just because you don't know what that hunter,
Exactly.
you don't know what his experience is, if he's got good eyes or whatever, so
I don't think it belongs in a residential area. It's very dangerous. People get injured and killed in hunting accidents every year. It happens all the time. I don't know why the city passed it, and I'm just wondering if anything's gonna be done to possibly repeal that.
So maybe with the new council, it can be looked at again, but like I said, I'm not gonna be.
Thank you for asking that. We'll take 2 more questions from the audience. All right, we got our 2.
How you doing, Ms. Jordan? I've asked this question before. I made a very good living off of skilled trades. Once you got that red, white, and blue book in your wallet, you can go anywhere in the world and work. I've been a union construction worker my whole life, skilled trades. We have close to $1 billion worth of work in Southfield going to non-union companies. What would you do to bring these union contractors here who brings work for each apprenticeship individual working? There's a new state law say that every apprenticeship guy that starts a job on a construction site, those are credits that go towards his college. It is a must that we try to turn Northland into a union site. The new job that's coming across from the Civic Center into a union site. What would you do to bring this into a union city?
You know, we really need to have that community benefits agreement, and what that is an agreement when people bring their businesses here, that you're gonna give a percentage of that work to our residents, you're gonna give a percentage to union workers, that our people in the city should benefit first, and not those that live outside of the city. So I believe the city must adopt a community benefits agreement to make sure that the residents of the city get their fair share with any development, whether it's Northland, whether it's downtown that we're going to develop, but that has to take place here in the city.
Good evening, thank you for being here. I am Reverend Danielle Golden at Goddess Grove Ministries. I'm a resident of Southfield, my church is in Southfield. My question to you, would you support the Spiritual Advisory Council to the mayor that is interfaith, where you would get with the spiritual leaders so you can get the impact and feedback from the community through the congregations of the communities that we serve?
Did you talk to my husband on that one? We've been talking, and he said, you know what, you gotta have all the faiths to have a focus group, an advisory team of all the religious leaders in this city to come together, because churches and religious organizations, they provide for the city. But why not have he said that all of us, I'm gonna ask my husband to come stand up. I got a little bit of time. So he said, I hope you bring the religious leaders together with all the future planning. So that really does have to take place in our city. Again, building a city means everybody's involved, and you're getting the input from everybody to make the city better. And that's the goal. That's what my goal is, to make Southfield better and to hear from all segments of our community so that we can be a strong, vibrant, alive, a city that people want to live in and can be proud of.
All right, man. Candidate, thank you so much for your time. We're now going to take We'll be taking another 5-minute intermission. Real quick, I wanted to say that we have the table in the back where we have representative, our Vice President Thomas Lewis from Lawrence Tech University. T-Will, can you raise your hand? T-Will, raise your hand real quick. This is our Vice President of Lawrence Tech University, Vice President. We have Jay Reid in the back with the Black Convergence. You can stop back there with them to check out if you have to go, but please, we would really, really love for you to stay for the final forum of the night, which is our City Council. If you have any questions that you didn't have the opportunity to ask, please feel free to write them down. Leave it with our team members. Black Convergence, anybody that's here, please raise your hand one more time. All right, these are the people that are on our team. Feel free to reach out to them if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or interest. 5-minute intermission, and we'll convene back here with our candidates for City Council.
All right, so let's talk arts. Check out this local artist, Kelfani. He's got a new album out and he's promoting all his work. Check out his website, socials, follow him, like, and subscribe. Of course, he's a local figure, proud graduate of the Southfield Public Schools, and he's on the rise. A leader that you want to know. He's heavily involved with the Black Convergence, one of the supporters of this event.
Peace be upon you from heaven's hero and Calvary's conqueror, Jesus Christ. My name is Anthony Gavin Jr. I bring you greetings as one of the leaders of the Ignite Young Adult Ministry. Just wanted to make mention of a donation drive that we're doing currently called Hope for the Homeless. We realize, especially due to these government shutdowns, and even despite the government shutdown, that people during the holiday season are in times of need. We are putting together a homeless drive where we are collecting socks, scarves, gloves, as well as hats, as we plan to go out and serve over 200, yes, that's 200 people in the community, and help them as well as evangelize and tell them about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If you want to know how you can partner with us, please contact myself or my co-laborer, Jay Reid, as we are very excited about this initiative. The last day to give and donate is November the 16th. So please, if you have it in your heart, please reach out to us. You can donate via Cash App. You can pretty much all ways of giving we accept. Please, we just hope that during the holiday season, we can be a blessing to those who are in need. God bless you and love you.
As we begin the forum again, I'd like to please remind our audience, mute your cellular devices. Let's try to limit the instances of sounds that go off and interrupt our candidates. Also, City Council, there are 7 candidates total in this campaign. So we do have to reinforce, please hold your applause until the end of the forum. Please and thank you. There are a total of 7 candidates for City Council. Ashanti Glenn, Daniel Brightwell, Katrina Butler, Yolanda Hayes, Stacey Jackson, it's okay. I know what I'm doing. I'm here to Gregory Gillen, and Michael Arian Mandelbaum, who is the council president. In attendance today, we have Ashanti Glenn, Katrina Butler, Stacey Jackson, and Gregory Gillen. Prior to starting this forum, we'll have a brief word from our community member, Devin Denard, known by his Instagram handle, just call me Dev.
Hello everybody, my name is Devin Denard. I also go by JCM Dev or King of Southfield. I just want to thank you guys for showing up today. That's number one. So keep clapping up for yourselves for that. This is powerful.
Yes, please.
I don't know if anybody is familiar with me already, but I am a content creator, community connector, also a music artist as well. So I call myself the King of Southfield. It started with me seeing so many people in my age group not repping Southfield. They're from Southfield, but they rep Detroit, right? So, and it's a reason for that, right? So we want more young people to be able to look at their city and see themselves when they see their city, right? So I appreciate you guys showing up today because this was ran by the young people, and if we can continue to see everybody show up for young people beyond today, even the candidates, whether you win or not, right? If you continue to show up for the young people beyond this point, you automatically win our hearts over, and you give us a reason to show up every day, right? And if anybody's out here wondering, how do I connect with a young person? What should I do? What should I say? Come in with an ear. Just come in with an ear. Ask some questions. Not judgmental questions. Why do you do what you do? Why do you wear what you wear? Ask some questions like, who are you? What does your city mean to you? What does waking up today mean to you? Ask them that. Learn their story, and then you'll learn their heart. That's me. Thank you.
All right, candidates will have 90 seconds for their opening statements. We'll start at this far end with Ms. McEwen, and then we'll end over here with Ms. Jackson. We have two microphones, so you can do a microphone per table. It's not working. Okay. All right, thank you for that. When we are doing our responses, we'll go in reverse order, and we'll just keep it going. You guys decide what you want to do with that format. All right. Feel free to start yourself in a second.
I wasn't sure.
No, okay.
Hi, my name is Greg Peeler. I am a research and development engineer. Which means I'm a problem solver. I'm also unlimited journeyman, which also means I'm skilled trades. So I'm definitely supportive of skilled trades coming here and kids learning skilled trades. Because once you have that skilled trade, it can never, ever be taken from you. And no matter where you go, you can work in that field. This area for me, I really enjoyed meeting all the residents here. Also enjoyed the fact that this is being led by the youth. Because when the youth lead, the world will follow. Because you are our next group of leaders. So with that said, for this neighborhood, since they have our own septic tanks and sewer lines, the city passed, or I should say our council passed, an ordinance saying that you must tie into a sewer when you get ready to sell your home. So I went to the administrator and said, okay, you have 750 homes that you just depreciated. The property taxes have to drop. I went into prayer with a bunch of group of brothers to get their property taxes dropped. And I'm the only one that probably say that at this table. Only probably one other person to say that was there with me fight to get their property taxes. I will always fight for the residents.
Can you clarify, is it 90 or 60 seconds?
90 seconds. 90 seconds for opening statement.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashanti Bland. I am running for City Council. I do want to give some credit to the principal and the staff of Southfield Public Schools for opening this beautiful school to us. It looks amazing, and thank you to everyone who voted for our capital bond in 2022. I am the current president of the Southfield Board of Education. I am also a resident, of course, of roughly 40 years. I was raised here, I stayed here, and I started here. Because this is a forum that is being held for the young people, one thing I do want to point out is that our young people do need a better space to get resources, information, and do the things that young people do. I have a 24-year-old, he goes to the University of Michigan, he comes home, and he immediately leaves out the door to go to other cities to do things. So one of the things that I think we need to do is start having more collaboration with our public school district. I heard some conversations about workforce development. With collaboration, the city will know that we have a CTE program that is bar none to many in Oakland County, where our children can go to fire academy, multiple things where they can get certified as EMTs and actually start as firemen right here at home. So, I think the better conversation is what can we do to be collaborative with the city? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Katrina Butler. Thank you for the sponsors and the event organizers for this youth event. I greatly appreciate you having me a part of it. Again, my name is Katrina Butler. I have been a 20-plus resident. I am a wife, a mother, and my new title as a grandmother, which I wear proud. I am excited about this city because this city is just in need of a change. There's a lot of things that are going on as far as vacant buildings. Why are we not using those spaces? I'm actually targeted to that because my background is property management. So with that, I see things and details that others don't see, and I know that this community can continue to thrive if we just continue to have more conversations, continue to hold people accountable, continue to be transparent, and if I become city council, that's what you will see from me. And if you have questions or concerns and you'd like to reach out to me, I can be reached at katrinaforsouthfield.com. And again, thank you for this opportunity.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stacy Jackson, and I am delighted to be here. Thank you to the sponsors and the host for this event. I'm delighted and excited to be a candidate for Southfield City Council. I am running to be a new voice with a new vision for a new direction for our city. I'm the candidate that is a community candidate. I was encouraged to run by my communities that I serve. I am community trusted, community focused, and community strong. My campaign is not grounded on winning or losing. It simply is not. I am not that candidate. For me, the work continues. Should I win, I will continue to be the candidate that shows up, stands up, and speaks up for the matters of my community. My sole purpose is to learn to amplify the voices of our community. That our community deserves to be the centralized focus of the heartbeat of our city. There is no power at this table. The power is all with you. My goal is to inspire you all to show up, stand up, and speak up for your communities. Always. What I want you to know is that I am that community champion. I defend and support ending gun violence. I stand up to help lower taxes. I stop imminent domain threats in my community. And with your support, the community's voice will be the community choice. Thank you.
All right, this question. An idea that has been discussed is the creation of a community center in the city of Southfield. What are your feelings about this idea?
My response to that is absolutely. As a community liaison and community advocate, that is the centralized focus for what we need. You all hold the answers. So having a community center should be a focus of our city. Having a small, vibrant, walkable downtown should be in our city. We should have a small movie theater, maybe an art gallery so that we can have local artists come in and display their works. We should be partnering with local business and big business in regards to skilled trades and apprenticeships and other partnerships with local schools. This community center, in my opinion, is something that should be a fundamental. And so while we know the residents know what the problems are, and we have folks who will focus on how to solve it, as an actionist, I'm concerned with why. And not just as a question, but as an acronym. Why haven't you? We have incumbents running who have served for this city for years. Why haven't you built a city? Why haven't you done more for the city? Thank you.
Thank you. If you want to hear the question again, but it'll be the same question. Community center creation, what are your feelings about that?
The community center, I guess my question would be, because I've worked in residential spaces that already have it, where would this community center go? I'm in agreement with it. However, there's a space at City Hall that needs to be updated. So when I hear community center, I think a little bit more money, and it's possibly, what are we doing with the space that we have available? Can it be updated? Can it be renovated? Can we use what we have? So That's my answer in regards to the community center.
So we are getting a community center. Part of the $345 million that you decided to help us get for our capital bond includes a community center right on Evergreen. So McIntyre Elementary will close and it becomes a community center. You will have an egress road that actually has access to the back of University that will allow our buses to have more than one way to come in and more than one way to go out. So now we have access for Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, multiple venues, multiple opportunities for the community to use this space. So that will be coming in 2030. The construction starts in 2026. Now, if the question is, should the city of Southfield, outside of the school district, do something? The answer is yes. I think that there is an opportunity, like Katrina said, to refurbish what we already have, but we also need to keep in mind that you have to do preventative maintenance. You can't build something and just let it go. And then you can't ask people to pay tax dollars to fix what you didn't maintain.
There's a rec center in the city of Detroit called Butzel Adams, which has an indoor and outdoor swimming pool. It has an indoor swimming pool. It has a basketball court. It has boxing. It has weightlifting in it. It has rooms for the community in it. It also has about 4 or 5 different banquet rooms inside of there. They have a kitchen inside there. I said 40 years old. Engineering don't go backwards, it goes forward. So you can build that here, now. If you go and ask Rashida Tlaib for money for a recreational center, we will get it. We can't ask for money for a swimming pool, but we can ask for a center. And if you ask for a center and for some place for help to take care of you, you can get it. But you gotta know where to go ask from and who to ask. This question has also been raised with City Council as to why aren't you asking the deeper pockets for money for something to come here to the city. And if you want to know where that's located at Butzel Adams Center, it's Wyoming and Linden. Go check it out.
You can keep the microphone. This next question, what does corporate accountability look like for you? If a for-profit corporation asks you to do something different than community members say, what would you do?
Do something different than what community members say?
So once again, the question is, what does corporate accountability look like for you? If a for-profit corporation asks you to do something different than what the community members say, what would you do?
Well, the one thing that comes to mind was Kroger's. And when Kroger's up on 12 Mile asked to have a gas station there, the question to me should have been, we should have put everything that we wanted to have changed before they thought about building a gas station there. The other thing is, when the summer was here, as far as going and get your stuff for picnics and everything else that you needed, you should be able to pick it up out there as opposed to going inside and going in long lines. They should have hired 3 more employees, one to make sure the outside stays good and stocked for you, one to clean up the place, because if you've ever been in the restroom in there for the last 30 years, it's totally nasty. It's next to the pharmacy. So ask for things that you want, and then ask for their accountability to it. We'll bring the people buying gas there, but what will they change to make it better for us? And for the seasons and holidays, so we can go in there and pick up our goods and get out.
So in my 9-to-5 life, I'm a senior auditor for General Motors. When I hear corporate accountability, I think about ethical standards, transparency, and accountability, especially when you have major companies, because we all know they love to treat their shareholders well, but what about their stakeholders? So when I hear corporate accountability, I think the conversation is more about, are we holding people to their own ethical standard? When you partner and you bring a company into the city, I think it's important to understand what their ethical standard is. Every company does not have the same
corporate accountability. Private companies are totally different than publicly held companies. If that is important to the people that live in this community, it should be important to the council when we decide who comes into this city. So that's a very large conversation, but I think it's a very important one as well.
Repeat the question again, because I heard it in two parts.
So the first part was, what does corporate accountability look like for you? If a for-profit corporation asked you to do something different than what the community members say, what would you do?
Well, the community would be people that would vote me in, so I would have to go with them first. Corporate accountability would look like letting them know what the residents and what the community are in need of. And again, following that with ethics, with transparency and accountability. So it's making sure what the residents want first, but also working with the corporate to making sure the accountability of the people get what they want.
My take on that is simply having those be responsible for their actions. As it relates to community, I said in my opening statement, I'm a community candidate. I'm a community voice. So my concern is always for the people. What I would also like to say is, when it comes down to corporate accountability and standing with the residents, I've been doing that for so long that it's almost funny that I'm even running. Because like I said, the work continues for me. Real leadership is not necessarily about capability, it's about commitment. And sometimes that commitment is not making you the type of leader where you run down an itinerary of accomplishments that you have. It's about leaning into your faith, leaning into your power, leading with the people to hold those that you elect accountable for what they do for you. When they don't do the work, you should show up, stand up, and speak up.
This next question is pretty specific to the trade school, but that is, of course, very important to the demographic of 18 to 35 residents. If elected, what would be your plan for dealing with deed fraud?
Interesting enough, in my day life, I am actually an outreach director at the university, and so I already serve as a vessel to springboard young people into who they wish and dream to be. So working with deed fraud, as far as fraudulent activity, there's always a matter of integrity involved with everything. One way of doing that is putting in practices and protocols into place to help support those activities and guide them through. The other, as it relates to trades, as a person in higher ed, have a 30-year career in it, I recognize that not every student learns the same. That is the first method of being a great educator, is knowing that not all your students learn the same. Trades is that one brilliant career that cannot be replaced by a machine. I would encourage those who are interested in the trades to follow that. We can also work with those businesses and union jobs to create those apprenticeships, to build those programs. So I would start there.
So I come from an era where apprenticeships, those programs, we had Go Lightly, we would have a bus where you would go and you would go learn those trades. Everyone is not ready for college. That's something that should not be forced upon anyone. It should be a path that you want to take. And you, again, as Stacey said, everyone learns differently. Everyone has a different path. So to do that, I would just make sure that we just have programs like vocational and just finding out what that student, what those students' needs are, and just making sure that we have information to give that to them to go forward. So that's how I would move with that on council.
As far as deed fraud is concerned and city clerk, I would have to say that's at the county registrar's office. But it would be important for our city to have a great relationship with our county. The registrar's office, getting information about if you think that you are a victim of deed fraud, partnering with legal agencies, legal aid, because you got to get a lawyer if that's something that you are being affected by. So that would be a partnership with the city clerk's office and the county registrar. Quite frankly, city council could only be informed. There's not much they could do as a actionary body, but they definitely would need to partnership with the other entities of the municipality and the county. As far as skilled trades are concerned, that's where you start looking for grant dollars. That's where you start looking for programs and resources to bring into the city. And again, partnership with your school districts because they have those types of partnerships already in collaboration.
Deed fraud would fall up under our clerk's area, as well as going up into Upland County to find out about your property and who has the legal rights and everything else. And then also looking at then what services we have within the city that can help you. But first, pointing you in the right direction to someplace to say, can I help you? Second off, being skilled trades. Skilled trades is a skill of being able how to communicate with people, how to teach kids just little things so they understand that some things travel across the whole spectrum of engineering. One of the things they had when I had kids were going in there for green technology, they wanted to know about hydronics. And I told them whenever they hear the word hydro, it means water, no matter what we're talking about. I said, so understand this water. And then one of the things then they understood that when we was talking about hydronic systems, all it was heating up a building using water, hydronics.
What are the powers and responsibilities of the city council and what are the limitations?
Powers is taking care of our budget, ordinance, listening to what the residents have to say, putting, as well as our charter. We also then, one of the things that was asked earlier with the mayor was we also have these subgroups that are called councils on senior adults, which we should be using. We have also those that use as far as what does the city need and what's coming up for them. All these different organizations and groups that we have, we should be using them as opposed to sending our money out because we already have them for free and they are part of our community. So we shouldn't be wasting dollars but saving dollars and spending it on things that we know specifically came from our neighborhoods. What was the second part of it?
It was what are the powers and responsibilities of the city council and what are the limitations, but time is up, unfortunately. Thank you.
So the powers of city council are legislative, policy making, budget, representative of the community, city administration, which I think is extremely important because we hire the people that actually do the daily operations of the city. At this point of Southfield's history and the point that we're in Southfield, I think that's something that we should look at. Who are we employing to represent us? We do other things, land use and development, which is extremely important because our economic development is crumbling in this city. Quite frankly, we've lost 50 small businesses. We have a bundle of Fortune 100 companies, but our small business development suffers. As far as the limitations are concerned, of course, we can't step into the city clerk's area. We just talked about deed fraud. You still have a Department of Health and Human Services.
The city council's responsibilities would be budget planning, policy, and definitely, hopefully, when we need to look into, if we need to get a 21st century charter, we need to work on the charter. But the main concern that I'm finding out on council is the residents, their concerns for the city. They're not being followed up. How hard is it for you in this day and age for you to just text someone back or follow up with an email? So my concern is taking all those concerns and just giving them, if I don't have an answer, just to get back with them and say, we're still working with you. So again, I'm remembering that if I am elected, the people elected me, so that's who I need to continue to work for.
Well, you've all heard excellent roles of the council, and I echo those sentiments. What I would add to that is being a community champion. The council is to serve as that voice of reason when things are being unreasonable. The council is supposed to serve as that council of wisdom when people are doing things unwise. The council is supposed to be that line of defense for the people, that line that shows up, stands up, and speaks up for the community. Whether it's putting a splash pad through eminent domain, the council should show up for that. Whether it's a resident losing their child to senseless gun violence, the council should stand up for that. And by all means, when it comes down to serving, protecting the democracy of the people of Southfield, we are all supposed to speak up for that. So in saying that, the council is supposed to be that wise person that cares about all, listens, and acts.
What relationship, what relationship do you seek to have with the youth and young adults in this community?
My cell phone probably has 1,200 young people in it, ranging from 16 to 24. As I said in my day job, my career is built on being a springboard and a catalyst to provide dreams to young people in education. So I don't plan to change that. I plan to lean into that experience. I plan to lean into those gifts. I plan to lean into those talents, coupled with my experience with communication, collaboration, and community. And above all else, ask. I think too often people tend to forget that second word when they say we need more young people. They forget that they're just people, right? They have the same concerns as others. The first thing I tell young people is that I care about you now, and I care about where you want to go. See, it's not just where you are now. And even on the flyer where it says leaders of tomorrow, I don't actually agree with that. You're the leaders today, right now.
Can you repeat the question again for me? I'm sorry.
What relationship do you seek to have with the youth and young adults in this community?
I would want to have a relationship that's intentional, that I want to listen to them and actually follow through with what they want. I'm a parent of a 28 and a 26-year-old, and there are concerns that are in the city that we just need to take further look at, and we just need to listen to them. A lot of those relationships are in arts and media. What can we do to bring more to the city where we're creating more spaces for them to have that knowledge and all that information and all that talent? Where else can we use it? So I would build intentional relationships with the youth.
I would love to have a partner relationship, one that just expounds on the relationship that I already have. I think it's important that our city council members go to schools. We have the Southfield Falcons here in Southfield. You have over 500 young people on that field at university all of the time. What's the relationship with city council? How many of them can name a city council member in real life? I think there is a larger relationship. Go to Bloom, go to Boulevard, go to Fuddruckers, sit with them, right? The only way that you can have a relationship with people is if you go into their environment. And the young people of today, their environment is very different than ours. A lot of them were affected by COVID.
We have young people that are on social media, so city council, you gotta be on social media. That's where they interact. So you have to go where the people are that you're trying to reach. So that would be one of my biggest things, to just continue to maintain a healthy relationship and partnership with our youth.
I would like to thank Jay Reid for this today. One of the things I pushed him 6 months ago was, because he's a precinct delegate, what are you doing? And he's a young person. What are you doing? You need to do something about this election. He did. I'm proud he walked up to me and said, Ray, here it is. I believe in encouraging our youth and people that are younger than me to move forward, to come in and take our place, replace us. I mean, I really need somebody to replace. My job in the union as a journeyman was to trade 7 other people so they could learn my skill. Replace me. I need to go home.
All right. For this last round, we will have just one question from the audience. I would say he hasn't asked the question yet. Just one question from the audience. This will be our final question of the night. I want to say thank you to everybody that's written the question and submitted it. Unfortunately, we don't have time to get to every single one, but thank you so much for expressing your interest and being here.
Thank you. I'm Earl Crum, and I'm a Southfield resident. I know that during the campaign, there are many promises made. But I would like to say to the candidates, no one candidate can fulfill all their promises, or any of them. We need all of the residents of Southfield to participate. When businesses, proposed businesses, future businesses come to present proposals to Southfield, where are you? Are you there to voice your opinions? I see only a few people here that attend the council meeting. The biggest crowd that we have for council meetings are those individuals who get a piece of paper to accommodate them for being a part of an association or something. We need all of you to participate, and especially those who've been elected officials, don't sit on the sideline, come back and be a part and support the city and the candidates.
Well, I will say there's a question that's come up a few times that I didn't think we had time to get to. But what do y'all think should be done about the coyotes? The coyotes in South?
Great question.
So, I heard somebody bring up the deer call and what are the options, and there are a couple of options for deer that might be an option for coyote, but the bigger question is the cost. And I think that's what we are not talking about, right? So you could actually, with the deer culling, one of the options is actually to stifle the reproduction of the deer. But also understand how much money that is going to cost the city, right? And so while the deer culling is not the best option, it was a financial option. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that it's not always about what is the most humane or the kindest thing, but when you talk about your tax dollars, it's always a very rough decision for people. So with coyotes, what I'm saying is you're in that same boat, right? So that's a conversation that you want to have with your council members. What are we willing to pay for and how do we do that? But I'm sick of them.
the draw for coyotes to come here is our deer, our growing population of deer. And so, we gotta figure out exactly what it is that we're going to do or willing to do, and willing to accept with the deer. Because as long as you get rid of their food supply, they don't find any place to go. So we gotta get serious about what we're gonna do with the deer, and we can solve two problems. The answer is a question, if I can. Since I've seen at council meetings and also in the community, I know people like him, and then some of the other ladies that are in here, will help, at least for me, keep me straight. And ask me, tell me when I'm going off on a wrong path, and give me a wrong talking to, even as it is today.
So again, to talk about the coyotes, they need to go, but they're here because of the deer. And we need to find a main way to get rid of the deer. But again, that is so costly. And I won't go into that because I have a lot of time. I researched it, but we have to do something about the deer first. And we need to work together as a team to figure out a costly way that can be done because it is causing a lot of accidents, unfortunately. So that's my answer to that.
Well, I happen to live over in the Beechwood area, Beechwood, right across from Beechwood Rec Center, that wooded area. So I probably see more coyote and deer, wild turkeys, pheasants and vultures than the rest of you. Unfortunately, the other candidates here, what they've shared is correct. There is no quick fix. There is no easy answer. The solution to get rid of the coyote is to eliminate the population of deer. So that's a secular situation that he's kind of circling around. So it will require a larger conversation. It will require budgeting. It could require reaching out to other environmental agencies to help with that as well. But yeah, I'm familiar with the coyote. I get a ton of calls from residents where they've let their dogs out for a bathroom break and the coyote can grab their dog and take it out to the woods. So I literally get those types of calls. So while we joke, it is a problem in our area for sure.
That concludes our time for questions. You can keep that because we're now open for closing statements and reverse order.
Thank you for coming out. My name is Stacey Jackson. I am running to be your next Southfield City Council, to be a new voice with a new vision for a new direction. I am community trusted, community focused, and community strong. I am fair, compassionate, and dedicated. I also like to say I am kind, but I am no coward. I am not afraid to push and challenge the status quo. I am not afraid to tackle tough conversations. I am not afraid to take the hit for my community. I have done it time and time again. I am actually one of those voices Mr. Crum speaks about that shows up, stands up, and speaks up for my community. I don't have to be directly impacted by the problem to come stand up and show support for a solution. I am a community candidate. I am encouraged by my community to run. I am fueled by my community to run and driven by my community to win. As I mentioned in the opening statement, my campaign is not built on winning and losing. Should I win, I simply continue to do the work within the system. Should I not, I continue to do more work outside of the system. Either way, I understand that establishments know and understand that I am what they fear. I'm a community voice that encourages the community to stand up, show up, and speak up. And FEARS, by the way, is also an acronym. Finally, everybody feeling real scared.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Katrina Butler, and I am running because we are in need of change of the city. Again, this city has potential, but we need to offer more opportunities. And with those opportunities, we need to talk to our residents and follow up with our residents and get what they want. Again, I will be, if elected, working for the people. I will continue to follow up with the people, and I will continue to be present for the people. So just remember me. Again, if you need to have questions or concerns, I can be reached at katrinaforsouthfield.com. And again, thank you for this invitation and opportunity to speak to the residents. Thank you.
I simply ask for your vote. Vote for me. Let me work for you. I know how. I just don't know what to do. I know how to do it. And I know why it needs to be done. And I operate with integrity. My parents live here. They can't be getting embarrassed. And it's a fact. My children go to school here. I am who they look up to. I'm a single mom. And I do this every single day. I've been taking calls for the board, and I won't leave this building until the last person is out to make sure that this school is locked up properly, because y'all gave us $345 million to build a new one, and we're not gonna mess it up. And so, I just ask for your vote. I ask for you to entrust me with the job. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Greg Hiller again. Vote for me as well. The thing I'm looking at is that we have so many jewels in the city of Southfield that have gone to waste because they have not been taken care of. We have a library that has a movie theater in it. We don't use it. We have a coffee shop in it. We don't use it. We have once a month concerts there. Could you imagine what we would have? And if you drive by at night and look over at our library where the patio is at, oh, that is just gorgeous. Think about if you were there hanging out in the summertime. If you go down to Bird Park, the gazebo down there is in bad need of repair. Repair that. The church down there is in need of repair. Repair that, fix it. If you start fixing some of the hidden jewels that we have in the city, that'll be enough to have a bunch of little kids becoming an apprentice, getting the skill, and learning from within their own city. I think that's what we need to polish up, take care of, is our own city. Clean the inside of the cup, and the outside will be clean. Don't hit the residents with fines and everything else that you can nickel and dime them on. But take care of our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Davis. Wow, that's fantastic. Please stay seated. We'll have a word from our organizer, Jay Reid.
If this was informative and helpful for you, can you just make some noise for us? I know it's late. We did want to respect your time. We said 8 o'clock. We understand, but we're young. So, very quickly, if I could get Anthony to come forward for me, if you can. This is a Be The One studio effort. It is an organization that I founded along with a couple of my close colleagues, my close friends, because we saw the need. We saw the need for education in our community. We saw the need for young people to have a voice. We saw the need of unity. Too many times, too many years go by where we act as though we live on different planets. Too many times do months and disasters go by, and people are still yelling, waiting for an answer, waiting for help, and here we are arguing in our cities. I urge us all to be the one to fix this. I urge us all to take to heart the issues that are going in our community, the issues at hand, the issues, forget about Democrat, Republican, understand the person's heart, understand what they've been through, understand how they can relate to you. The reason why these folks are up here is because each of them have their own testimony, and they have a reason why they want to represent you. So just as the candidates have submitted their names to be on this ballot. Being an elected official is not easy. The campaign field is not easy. It's not easy. And it's not pretty either. So please support these candidates. You see their literature in the back. As we leave, they'll be able to talk to you, gallivant with you. There is one urgent need I would like to discuss as far as the upcoming Thanksgiving season is here. So Ignite Ministry is a young adult ministry pulling all young adults from across the nation. What we're doing is we are sponsoring a donation drive for the homeless. So we're not asking you to give back to this form, we're asking you to give to the people who really need it, okay? So you can see myself or Mr. Gavin for any more questions about that. And with further ado, we've got a special treat for you as we dismiss.
Yeah, so this has been a really special event. As he said before, it's the first of its kind. This ain't really what young people tend to do, but I want to reiterate that every person who is involved in planning this is under 30. The Black Convergence is an alliance of students, alumni, community members that started on Wayne State's campus with the Black Student Union. Lawrence Tech University, we have current undergraduate students who are involved in this process. The contacting of the candidates, picking this location, promoting the event, the entire thing is done by the community for the community. So with that said, Be The One Studio, Black Convergence, and the Black Student Union at LTU would like to thank you guys, the audience, of course, y'all the candidates, the League of Women Voters, our amazing friends at Detroit Action, S-Boy Enjoy Detroit, and for sure, the staff here at Adler Elementary for making this event possible. Please give yourselves and each other a round of applause. Our final word, remember that early voting is going to start in October on the 25th, this Saturday. And you can vote at your precincts starting November 4th. That is election day. And in the words of the League of Women Voters, democracy is not a spectator sport. Now, we get the opportunity to introduce y'all to our Black Convergence tradition. I'm going to introduce our brother Jeremiah Wheeler, and what we're going to do is Harambe, all right? We Harambe because we pull together. That is the translation in Kiswahili. We're going to put our right hand to the sky, we're going to pull it down to our chest, and we're going to say that word led by Chairman Jeremiah Wheeler.
Peace, Mariah, Samaya, Tilu, and Princess, just stand up real quick, and Jalen. They all have signed out QR codes, so make sure you sign in so we can continue to build with you. We don't want transformation. Thank you, Kafani. Right hands in the air, you can stand up if you want. If you're able, stand up. We reach our right hand in the air, put the energy of the cosmos, our creator, into our bodies, and on the seventh one, we're gonna hold the bed. And then we're gonna release it out to each other. All right, y'all ready? Yeah. Y'all ready? Yeah. Y'all ready? Yeah. Let's pull it together. Harambe! 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 Harambe!
Have a great night, everybody. Get home safe, please. Remember.